sitting on the shores here of Lough Neagh at Barton's Bay, and I'm speaking to Gerry Geoghegan, and Gerry's going to tell me about how he got involved with Lough Neagh.
Well, I suppose you were part of the reason, Paddy, but I'm going to tell you from the start, which is a wee bit out of the new.
Good.
My association with Lough Neagh goes back 40, maybe 50 years of age. 50 years. And I was down at Drach's shore one day teaching my wee fellas how to swim. And they were getting on right, like, and I saw this boat coming in with cloth up. I didn't even know what it was. It was a funny looking boat. And it pulled up beside me. And I danded up to it. And I said to the man on the boat, says I, what sort of a boat is that? Says he, it's called a catamaran. It has 2 hulls. Well, says I have seen sailboats out at sea and one thing and that. I never saw one of them before. Oh, he says there's different types of sailboats. But anyway, says he, would you like to come out for a wee run? And he took me and the young fellas and we went out. We didn't go very far and come back in again. But I was sold on it. I really was. Drifting along there, no engine, no nothing. Able to go up against the wind. I couldn't get that into my head. We got in. And I says, I think I'm sold on sail. Says he to me, would you like to go for a day's sail? Says I, I love that. And we arranged a date, and he told me his name, and his name was Sean Lavery.
Sean Lavery.
One bright fella.
Smart lad, John, yeah.
He had got an old boat, and he had plastered the sides of it, and he had taken a mould of it, and he ended up with a glass fibre boat, and he made a deck for it, and the non-slip part of the deck, which I found very funny, and it's very good, yeah, it's there to this day, was embossed wallpaper that he used for the mould to give him a non-slip.
That was good.
Wasn't it?
Great job.
Oh, I tell you, he was a genius. But anyway, we all got together, me and Brian Doherty and Tom Magner, I think it was.
From our boat.
From our boat. And we got onto the boat, and Sean took us to the battery, and we might have had a pint. And
more than likely.
What do you call the next one?
Ballyroan.
Ballyroan, and we probably had a pint. And then, I'm not sure about Toom, but we definitely went into Antrim. And with a bit of grub, and maybe another pint. I'm not 100% sure.
But more than likely.
But the time come for to go out, and we went to Ram's Island, and it blew up at Ram's Island, and I was amazed the way that boat stood up and how fast she went.
Well, catamaran be very fast.
She flew, and when we got into Kinnigo, I says, I'll have to get a boat. And Sean Lavery says, why don't you make yourself one? Says I couldn't afford one. Says I, well, what's them boats cost nowadays? 20,000 plus. He says, not at all, make your own, he says. Says I, how would I do that? Says I have a mould you can use.
Not a bad man to know.
And I went along and I bought a full barrel of resin and a roll of cloth, and Sean Lavery let me use Cairn to start off with. So I was in a place that was dry and everything.
Perfect.
And I started off and ended up with the boat coming out of the mould, then taking a boat out of the mould, and then Sean had the deck. I can't remember making the deck. I must have made it off his mould, and we put it on, bolted it on, and I thought, there's our boat. Says he to me, you'll need a keel.
Keep her up.
To keep her up, and says he, you'll need a lot of ropes, and you need somewhere to sleep and somewhere to cook. So that started a lot of work. And I was in school Paddy, you remember the school? But I think this was before your time.
Probably was, Jerry.
I got a whole lot of lead. And don't ask me now where I got it off, but I got a whole lot of lead.
Hope it wasn't from a church roof.
I got a whole lot of lead, and it was holiday time, and I went out to Lismore, and I lit the furnace. It was just a pot that you set in, and I set the keel beside me, which I had welded up, and I'm not a good welder, but I had welded it up, and I set it there, and I put the lead into the pot, and it started to melt.
Good man.
And when it got melted, I had only a soup spoon, and I was lifting it out with a soup spoon and pouring it into the keel, and then dropping an abit in, waiting until it melted. And I was nearly all day before I
Got the keel made.
But there was something like 1,400 weight in it.
My God.
1,400 pounds, sorry.
1,400 pounds.
1,400 pounds. That was a brave bit, like.
That was a brave bit of lead.
So I had to get bolts.
Keel boats.
Aye. And Paddy Kelly, I don't know if you know Paddy or not. He talks like that there.
Yeah, I do, yeah.
A sunny haired fella.
Yeah.
Paddy worked in King Packaging at the time, and he was a mechanic. And I asked him, Paddy, could you get me a lot of long bolts and nuts to fit them? He says, yeah, how long do you want them? And I tell him, no, 2.5 inch a day, you know.
Good job.
And I drilled holes, and this is one of the mistakes I made. I should have drilled the hole slightly bigger than I did.
Right.
And I put stuff right enough, and I put it in, and I got the nuts Paddy had given me, and I fit it. So then the problem was getting the boat onto the thing.
Onto the keel.
Onto the keel. And I got her to Germ Tippins, because Sean Lavery needed the place. I got her to Germ Tippins, and it's over beside where I live, and it was very hot. But lifting it up was a bit of a problem. But we managed by lifting it at the back, and lifting it at the front, and lifting it at the back, and lifting it at the
barrels
front.
And planks.
And barrels and planks and one thing and that. And we got it up high enough to slide the keel underneath. Now, all I had was a paper template, which I held down over the bolts, like. And then I went inside the boat and set them down there. Jesus, I says, I hope that's right. And I drilled the holes.
Bit of work there, Jerry.
I drilled the holes, and we lifted the boat up and lowered her down, and she went down about halfway, and she stuck.
Right.
Says I, bugger this, says I, if I can't get that keel down, how the fuck will I get it off again? But anyway, there happened to be a sledge lying there, and everybody was amazed at me, because I went into that boat and I used that sledge and I bait
her down.
Bait
her onto the keel.
Bait her right onto the keel.
Good man, Jerry.
And then we put a rubber on, and then we tighten up the nuts.
Keel boats.
Or the keel boats. And Jesus, she didn't look too bad at all. And she said, I think that's not a bad job. And then the work started inside her, and my work, I used timber and all inside her. But the day came for the launcher.
The big launch.
And that was a sort of a hazy sort of a day, if you can understand why I mean hazy.
Or around the lock can be hazy.
No, it wasn't that sort of hazy.
Right.
It was in the head, Paddy.
Oh, right. After a few drams.
Aye. And we got her in, and you know what I'm going to tell you? She turned out the best of the ones that were made. She went quicker than any.
And what did you call this class about, Jerry?
They called after a
The rock right behind us here.
and nailed out there.
The skiing.
The skiing.
The skiing.
The skiing.
And it was a skiing class.
It was the skiing class, is right.
And listen,
And you know what I'm going to tell you? I have thought ever since, in association, I'm sure, with the rest of us, like that's the greatest playground in Ireland.
oh big. I remember Michael Waters had a skiing that was built. I remember John Larvey having the
Yes,
skiing and Dean
yes.
Hamill having the
That's
skiing.
right.
Was there only 4 ever built, Gerry?
There was one fella built one over in East Down somewhere, but he made a bollocks of
Oh,
it really,
bollocks of it.
because he raised the deck away up and stone headroom went on. It looks like Corso.
All right, because the Lough Neagh skiings were all looked powerful, good lines on the water,
Oh yes.
and they could go.
Oh aye.
I remember one day us sailing down the bay in them, and the 3 of us alongside each other, and after an hour's racing, we were still alongside each
There
other.
you are. There's a great shot of me, Dee, and what do you call him?
Michael?
No, he's in the loch all right, but he has a wee boat and he comes every now and again. Sometimes he starts the races and one time, John. But anyway, we were going down, the 3 of us, down the bay against the wind. And I was on the outside tack. And I left them boys for dead.
Saoirse left them for dead.
For dead.
It was Queen of Diamonds, Saoirse,
Black magic.
Black Magic,
And what do you call
Emerald.
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 That's right.
That was the 4 names of
That's right.
the skiing class that was designed, built by
Yes.
your good sails in Lurgan,
Yes.
and sailed on the loch and still sails to this day. How many years ago was that, Gerry?
Oh God, I don't know.
Supposed to be at least 40.
It has to be around there somewhere.
Yeah.
I'll ask Sean someday
Aye.
exact date, because one thing about Sean Lavery, he has all that.
Oh,
And
right.
he even has videos of the making of it.
That'd be
I know.
worth looking at
It
sometime.
would.
And
It would.
making sure it's kept for people in the
For-
future to see.
for-
How the
for-
skiing class of Lough Neagh was built out of Lurgan, out of a shed.